Chavez.
Oh.
Jake Paul. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Well, the suggestion before the fight was the early rounds could be decisive, and it is quite clear the man. That's time in there, baby. Good win. We got that one.
Good. I got it. You gotta keep your hands up. We can't get into those screen time.
Okay.
La leyenda continúa. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Didn't think I'd ever have to make one of these videos, but it happens, I guess. This is still the best job in the world. Thank you all for the support. This was an amazing event, and I'll be back. No worries, cuz.
Your three judges in this fight from Belgium, Daniel Vandelay. From Mexico, Omar Minchun. From the U.S., Mike.
Very impressive fight. Not getting after by both guys. Nothing was.
Jake, you see, the problem with you, man, the reason why you lost is because you weren't drinking Prime, baby. I stay winning! I stay winning! Jay got that one, you know what I mean? With that referee, that was an immature point taken. I think Jay Paul needed that knockdown. But he had, I think that kind of evened it out. And I think he only gave it to Fury because of the point taken. That was an immature point. The referee's supposed to give him at least 3 warnings. He gave him no warnings. Get out of here.
So you feel then that Jake should have won?
Huh?
You feel that Jake should have won?
I think so. I think so. With the knockdown, I think he sealed it in. Because that point took him away. But it was a good scrap all the way through. You know what I mean? It was a good fight for Houston. So to this day,
You want to see a rematch?
I would see a rematch.
So a reflection of my own performance versus him being, super outstanding. I couldn't get my momentum going like I wanted to, and I just felt kind of flat. He was exactly the fighter that I expected him to be. I think his combinations were the thing that were a bit more impressive. But more so, again, like it was a reflection of my own performance. And
my prediction is, and I'm never wrong, Jake Paul, absolutely useless. He just got embarrassed. He got whooped. What was that? I've never seen anything so bad in my life. That was terrible. Take up dog.
The atmosphere was electric, almost cinematic, as the world of boxing watched one of the sport's most polarizing figures take a hard fall. Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned fighter who had built his brand on knockouts, bravado, and billion-view spectacles, tasted bitter defeat once again. Social media exploded within minutes. Some celebrated his downfall with memes and taunts finally. The problem child had been put in his place. Others, especially his loyal fan base, stood in solidarity, reminding the world that this was only his second career loss and not the end of his journey. His previous victory had come against the legendary Mike Tyson in November, a fight many had called a publicity stunt, but still resulted in a W on Paul's record. That very same Tyson sat ringside now, watching quietly as the tides turned. The symbolism was impossible to ignore. The same man Jake had triumphed over was now witnessing the influencer's defeat, this time at the hands of a fighter from a legendary Mexican lineage. The ring wasn't just a place of combat. That night it was a stage where history, ego, and legacy.
My boxing coach, man, I just had to talk to him, because people are saying, look, Jake Paul's coach wrote me this morning because I post that silly script. And then it turns out that the script kind of looked close and they talking about the rematch already. And,
This wasn't just a boxing match, it was a generational collision. On one side, Jake Paul, a digital age disruptor, a self-made mogul who turned spectacle into sport. On the other, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., son of royalty, bearer of a torch that once lit all of Mexico with pride. For Chavez Jr., this was a fight to reclaim his name, his purpose, and his place in a sport that gave everything to his family. For Jake Paul, it was a chance to earn something far more valuable than views respect. This was legacy versus legitimacy, bloodline versus brand, old school grit versus new age fame. And at the center of it all stood a father, watching from the shadows, praying that this final time his son would rise.
Your dad the work day.
No sabíamos que que el papá tenía que hacer todo el palabrerío, que no sabía que este era el día de traerle
But then again, you're nothing without your dad.
Pero tú eres nadie sin tu papá.
You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth.
Que como le gustan los viejitos, quería mi papá.
You like old man, that's why I brought him, because maybe you like my dad.
If he wants to win, he has to start strong and look for the knockout. This cannot go to the judges. Chavez Senior declared with unmistakable urgency, but there was more beneath his words. This wasn't just about strategy, it was a plea for redemption. He's had enough chances. He continued, this is his second to last. The next one, that's retirement. At 39, Chavez Jr. was no longer the young lion. His body had taken damage. His reputation had been battered even more. And now, in front of millions, he had a final chance to not just win, but to earn back the respect of the boxing world and, more importantly, the respect of his father. For Chavez Sr., this wasn't about headlines or glory. It was about seeing his son rise above the chaos, reclaim his honor, and maybe just maybe close the door on a turbulent past with dignity.
Okay. So before, you told me in the face-off, you gave Jake a 3 because you're going to knock him out in 3. Is that what you told me?
He told me 3.
He told you 3?
Yeah, so I say, why 3? Because you have only condition for 2 rounds. So after that, I take care of you.
And how was the event today? It was a lot of trash talk, your dad, him, you, him.
A lot of trash, but it's like serious business. You know, it's a fight thing.
Just days before the showdown, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. gave the most brutally honest interview of the fight camp. It wasn't a hype session. It was a father's raw concern poured into words. It's not his power. It's not his chin. It's hard. He can take punches. That's not the problem. He said, it's the volume. He doesn't throw enough punches. In professional boxing, volume can be the deciding factor. It's about controlling the pace, overwhelming the opponent, and breaking their rhythm. Despite his talent, Chavez Jr. had often looked sluggish throwing a few punches, losing momentum, and appearing disengaged. His father didn't sugarcoat it. He knew exactly what his son was up against. And for once, he wasn't warning him as a coach, but as a man trying to save what was left of a once brilliant legacy.
But this is okay.
So before, you told me in the face-off, you gave Jake a 3 because you're going to knock him out in 3. Is that what you told me?
He told me 3.
He told you 3?
Yeah, so I say, why 3? Because you have only condition for 2 rounds. So after that, I take care of you.
And how was the event today? It was a lot of trash talk, your dad, him, you, him.
A lot of trash, but it's like serious business. You know, it's a fight.
Jake Paul entered the fight as a paradox, both the underdog and the headline act. With a professional record of 11 wins and 1 loss, he had defied the expectations of almost everyone. What began as a sideshow had evolved into a legitimate boxing career. Love him or hate him, Jake had earned a seat at the table. His victories over MMA legends like Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, and Nate Diaz had given him credibility. But critics still pointed out one glaring hole in his resume he hadn't yet. Fought a real boxer in their prime. His only loss came in 2023, a split decision to Tommy Fury, the younger brother of world heavyweight champion Tyson Fury. That defeat raised questions. Was Jake really championship material, or just a well-marketed illusion? When a fight with Canelo Alvarez failed to materialize, Jake turned his sights on Chavez Jr., a man with a legendary surname, a complicated past, and something Jake hadn't yet truly faced. A desperate fighter with everything on the line.
Contento, la verdad, porque es una oportunidad muy buena para mi hijo y vamos a ganarle a Paul.
Obviously, he's excited, happy for his son to be a great fight, and obviously he thinks Junior is gonna win that fight.
How good do you think Jake Paul is as a boxer?
¿Cómo crees que Jake Paul es de boxeador?
Bueno, es un youtuber que ha ido a...
He hasn't been throwing enough punches, his father admitted.
I told him if he keeps up this intensity, there's no way Jake Paul beats him, said Chavez Senior. His tone firm and unwavering, but beneath that bold statement was a complex reality of son with tremendous natural talent. Weighed down by a career of missed opportunities, Chavez Jr. was once a middleweight champion, a rising star with a famous last name and world-class potential. But his career had spiraled into a storm of problems, failed drug tests, legal trouble, stints in rehab, and long periods of inactivity. His fall from grace was more than just professional. It was personal. At 39, this wasn't just a comeback, it was a resurrection, and with his legendary father now watching closely, the stakes were higher than ever. Chavez Senior's confidence wasn't blind. It came with experience, pain, and a hope that maybe, finally, his son was ready to silence the doubts.
Health, and perhaps finally closing a chapter defined as much by promise as by chaos.
Agarrando experiencia, un boxeador. Pues para mí no sabe mucho de boxeo, pero es un boxeador fuerte que está aprendiendo.
Obviously, he's a YouTuber that he started learning about boxing. The continuous fights that he has, it's, had the basics, but he's a strong guy.
All in all, this fight isn't just about wins and losses.
This wasn't just another bout on the calendar, it was an event. Ringside was filled with legendary boxers, A-list celebrities, and fight enthusiasts, all drawn in by the spectacle. But one figure stood out among them, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., widely considered the greatest Mexican boxer of all time, the father of Jake Paul's opponent. Chavez Sr. carried more than just pride, he carried an unshakable belief in his son. I went to watch Junior train twice this month, Chavez Senior told Most Valuable Promotions, and let me tell you, I was stunned. I've never seen him so committed, so sharp, so focused. That statement was powerful not just as a prediction, but as a rebirth. For a man who had seen his son drift through years of disappointment and scandal, this felt like a spiritual moment. The legend saw a fire in his son's eyes that hadn't burned in years. And if there's one man who can spot greatness in the making, it's the one who wore the crown for decades.